Hey guys, this is Bad Al coming at you with another Star Wars Battlefront related video. This time we're going to be going over targeting the Zero Patch 2.0 for the Classic Collection. The Zero Patch 2.0 is intended for the Classic Collection, but it also can be used with the base version of the game. And I'll show that a little bit in a demo later, but first I want to go over a little bit of the documentation here. First of all, you can see that the documentation is online on the Game Toast GitHub, available here. So you can view this um, during your watch of the video or later and read through it if you'd like to. The fake file system is kind of the number one, I think, interesting for modders item in the patch. Whereas before we had to basically do a search. Oh, is this thing? Does this thing exist? Does this thing exist? Does this thing exist? Well, now we can just get a set of files returned to us, um, and we use it like this. And so to um, to be able to understand, just do like a get files thing is for a modder is really cool. It opens up a lot of possibilities, and I'll show you one of those applications in conjunction with the mod menu tree in just a little bit. I do want to mention on the notes here that files inside folders that are called disabled, they're excluded from this get files call. And that's one way that we can, that's the way that we use to disable scripts in the game. Okay. Also, this pattern right here is a Lua pattern, and Lua patterns aren't as strong as regular expressions are in most other programming languages. And there's a tutorial or there's an explanation on that right here, so you can read through that if you're looking at the pattern matching and something's not quite right. You can read through this to better understand what Lua patterns are like. Okay, custom GC scripts. Custom GC scripts were supported in the 1.3 unofficial patch, and the convention that was used in the 1.3 and the unofficial patches before that was that they would be called custom GC underscore 1 through like 100, and they would be inside the data LVL PC folder for your game. Those are those style of scripts, the custom GC 1 through 100 is still supported, and we'll use them, except we don't look for them anymore in the data LVL PC or LVL common portion of the game. We look for those instead inside the mod folders, and we find them through the fake file system. And we also support basically anything, custom GC anything. We're not stuck on just the numbers from before. So this way, if your mod is mod ABC, or if that's your mod ID, you can say custom GC ABC, so that we can better associate it with the mod. Instead of having all these custom GC 1, 2, 3 files, you have no idea what they're for. Okay. You can have them LVL. They can be .script too. Both will work. Typically, if you're doing a custom GC, you would want to include some other files with it, and we typically would do that with an LVL. But custom GCs, often they don't actually add GC. We just had these added at a time where we want to expand the user interface. And that still works with the zero patch. If you don't know much about that, that's okay. But that is still supported, and these are run at a time when you can do that. Like the custom GC scripts, the user scripts, which are run during the in-game portion when the mission is loading, follow that same new convention, where we don't put them at the data LVLPC main portion of the game. We want those out in the mod folders that they belong to. And so the same idea applies here. User scripts don't need to be 1, 2, 3. They can be anything now, not just limited to numbers. And the this anything right here, it's important to make something unique. So you probably want to have your mod ID in there somewhere, because for the scripting system in Battlefront 2, it can only run scripts that have unique names. And so if we had two custom, or rather user scripts ABC, we'll pick both of them up. The fake file system will find both of them, but the Battlefront 2 system will only run the first one. That's a limitation, and the ADME is an exception there. Okay, data pass through. So we do pass through some data from the shell to in-game, and pass through this zero patch table. And this, if you want to, like I'll show you in a little bit with the mod menu tree, do some kind of mission setup stuff, you can attach it to this zero patch data, and then you'll be able to retrieve that data in-game if you want to for your mod. Now, we don't save this state across missions, so it's only going to work the first time. We don't have a save settings working currently. I wasn't able to get that implemented, but it's something that we do have on the agenda to make work later on. And we also don't want this table to hold too much data. We have a limit of about 200 characters because it's used for mission setup in Galactic Conquest. There's enough room there for a bit more data, but not a whole lot. Okay, mod menu tree. This is probably going to be, this is probably the second most interesting thing for the zero patch besides the fake file system. The mod menu tree is basically a list, and we can add our, if we have a mod that we want to make a new menu for it, we can. Let's show some examples about how we use that in the game. Okay, so here's the mod menu tree right here. The first thing you see right here is the custom GC mods. And so these are the custom GCs that I have installed here on my game. So we can select one of these and start those up. But we also have some of this other stuff down here. We have like a debug log that we can see in the mod menu tree. I hijacked the space training button for the mod menu tree button, so I still make it accessible by putting a list or putting an item in here. This mission add-on mission list, I don't have the example posted online, but I do have this one. This one is targeting the Clone Wars Revised, and we'll take a look at the code in a minute, but this menu right here lists out a few of the missions from Clone Wars Revised, just as an example. And if we wanted to select one of these, we'll get launched into this mission. Okay. So here's the only setting that right now we're passing through the zero patch table. This is just, it's here for now. We might remove it later, but it's just a greeting. Hello, just to test the data pass through. So these two bottom ones right here, these are kind of a silly example, but this is meant to show you an example on how to do some simple settings where you want to present the user with a list of options, and then be able to set those options as they select right here. And you see at the top of the screen, the user selection will get changed in the title. Oh yeah, my favorite car brand is, well, maybe it's Toyota. Okay. And then let's go to in-game, and we'll show you that got set. And let's look at the debug log. Here we go. Yeah, so that's just to show you that those two pieces of data got set, so that you could potentially use those as something you wanted to read in game to make a new choice. Okay, let's take a look at this other, a little bit more complicated example. Mod folder override path. So right now I have remaster, Harrison Fogg's remaster maps installed in kind of in my add-on folder, and I can select remaster, and then let's go to show. Let's do Felicia. So we're doing a substitution here. So I have a user script that works in conjunction with this mod menu item that set basically remaster on a special property. And then we have a user script picked up, and it'll do like a substitution on the base game path to look to see, oh, does this exist in this substituted path? And if so, then it does read data file substitution. Okay. And you can, and that's in this case done for remaster, like I kind of mentioned before. I don't want to overwrite my files, where in remaster, you typically would overwrite your files in order to install that mod, but I really don't like to overwrite my files. So this is kind of a way that we can use to enable us to use these mods without overwriting our base game files. So let's take a look at first the simple settings example. Or actually, let's take a look at this documentation right here for the tree. This is kind of the way we add a mod menu item right here. We use this function. This is we added the font test to the menu, and we give it an ID. We give it a string to present to the user to show what it is, and then in this case, we give it another string. When the action is a string, it's going to do a script CB push. It's going to try to treat it like a screen to push. When it's a function, we're simply going to call that function with the ID of the item. And if it's a table, then we're going to try to load the list. We're going to pretend that we're going to actually assume that that's a table or a list of items that we want to show the user. So in the case of the custom GC, this item right here has a list of items, and then that's what we end up showing when it's pressed. So let's take a look at the launch my mission for the Clone Wars Revised. This is just done in an ADME. The first thing that we're doing right here is we're checking to see if the odd menu item function is available, because we probably want to make this mod work for the classic collection 2.0 patch, but it could be the case that we would also like for it to be installable for just the 1.3 unofficial patch. And so in our admin, we just want to do a check before we add these other, do this other functionality. So let's see here. Okay, so we do check for odd menu item. In this case, we're also going to be checking for the existence of a file inside the Clone Wars Revised mod. And it's just a mission.lvo that it would have if it was installed. We're defining a launch my mission function that'll take a mission name. And so when it's called, it'll run this, and this will basically launch the mission. For our items, we're taking a few of our missions and we're setting them up in this list right here. And so we're giving each of these an ID, a show stir, and an action. In the case of the action, we're giving it this function, and for the ID, we're basically giving it the mission name. And we're calling this add mod menu items, and that's how we were able to present that list to the user. For the simple settings, we have this kind of other interesting pattern where we have this data, and then we're going to be passing it to this create option listings settings function, and we're going to be giving that result to the add mod menu. And so for this option data, this is a pattern that I thought we could probably reuse quite a bit, and that would make it easy for people to add settings fairly simply. And so we have a default value, target table, property name on this target table, title of the um, list item, callback in this case is nil. We're just going to set some data, and then an options of things to show. Similarly down here, only we have this callback function right here that we specify. But let's take a look at the set alternate path. We do this check in here for the zero patch data. So we're not going to do this unless we can detect that it's the zero patch. And in this case, we're going to be looking for all the files called nab2, and then we're going to be adding them to a list. And we're going to target basically, if you see this pattern right here, we're going to be grabbing this part that's just before the data path. And so in the case of where I installed remaster, I installed a remaster data LVL common, and then we have these different world from Harrison Fogg's remaster that that are installed. So we will redefine data, redefine read data file in our user script. Right here, we're just going to basically set on zero patch data something called override path, and we're going to give it one of the options that the user selected, or the option the user selected. Let's take a look at the user script. You'll see that I called it user script alternate default path to kind of go along with this name of this example. We're going to create this new base path, and we're going to check to see if there's a file that exists there with this temp path. Yeah, so we'll construct a path like this, and we'll check, oh, do we have like the same named file for this override thing? If so, then we'll use it, and then we'll call the old read data file, and that will essentially do a path replacement. So we don't have to destroy our files when we want to install like Harrison Fogg's mod. We could essentially do something like this instead. And this is used an example with that with the option to choose which one. But if you wanted to, you could use this file, and instead of this built up string right here where it does a format for the override path, you could just make it say, like, instead of that, just remaster, and then leave this file active by not having it disabled. And then it'll get picked up by the system, and then it'll just, that's another way you could do a sides mod too. Have your sides folder, and then just do like a, do this kind of substitution for read data file. So long as you implement all of the stuff that the base file or the base game has there, it should work. I don't know if that made a lot of sense. Let me know in the comments if you want some more explanation on that. But in addition to working with the classic collection, in order to get more debugging functionality, we also made it work with the base game. And so you'll see the zero patch mod menu tree example in here as well. And so we have our same, I have some different some different options in here I was playing around with. But yeah, so the idea being here that, you know, this print log is better than the this print log is better than the debug menu or the debug log, because if your game crashes, you still have access to this debug log, and if a game crashes, you don't have access to the debug menu. So yeah, if you look, oops. So if you look in our add-on folder, we do have the 0 patch in here still, and then we have this run after making changes as well. Well, I think that about does it for what I wanted to go over for mod developers targeting the 0 patch 2.0. If you have any questions about anything in particular, let me know over on the Game Toast Discord or in the comments of the video. Okay, thanks guys. Talk to you later. Bye.